Hi, I'm B from Nick's Mechanics, and welcome to part 1 of my cel-shaded jazz. So, if you've been to this channel before, then likely you've seen my cel-shaded Optimus Prime that I made in Blender. I utilised grease pencil, material nodes, rigging, just modelling in general. I learned an awful lot in that project, but it didn't quite come out as clean as I wanted. My whole idea of swapping the Optimus model out for the truck, while is a good idea and is what the professionals do, the transition wasn't seamless. So I want to do another model and fix that. And who knows, if this continues to be popular, I might keep doing more, but I'm doing this for me. So the question now is, who do I do next? Well, Hazel Moon and a few others requested that I do jazz, and I thought, well, it's jazz, that's bloody brilliant. We can animate some dancing and stuff. Now, I don't want to recreate another scene like I did with Optimus. I want to make my own scene, which means I need to plan it out first. There's this software you've probably already heard of called Flipperclip, which is basically a really simple 2D animating software that lets you draw each individual frame of your animation. It's super basic and intuitive, and sure, it's got a watermark, but it's free. Now, I'm a G1er, so I already know that I'm doing the G1 jazz design, so what I want to plan out is what I want him to do in this animation. And I'm thinking, okay, what if he's in the Ark, right? He drives in his car mode, then he transforms into robot mode, doing a very nice, very detailed transformation. Then once he's in robot mode, he gets out Blaster in his boombox mode, sets him down, starts playing some music, and then we can animate him dancing. This animation took me an hour and a half because I was not focusing on the details. I'm aware it's scrappy, because it doesn't need to be good. You are never gonna see this in the final project. Also, it cuts out a lot sooner than I am intending. The dancing is going to make up a large portion of it, and it's easier to just record myself dancing and use that as the reference instead of drawing it. Once that was done, I needed to plan out how I'm going to make it transform, right? Again, my main inspiration is G1, so 99% of it's been done for me already. That's not to say that I don't want to add a couple of my own unique flares. I'm probably going to do almost a red sideswipe with the way the wheels form the shoulders and stuff, and how the blue strip down the middle can be plates that separate to reveal his head. I do apologize if my art's extremely rough. This is me trying to get it out of my brain and into reality. So we've done a basic animatics, figure out what we're going to do. We've planned out how the transformer's going to transform. Now we need to make it. Now, since this is part 1, it means that I don't have as much finished as one might like. That being said, I still finished the car mode. I opened up Blender, 3D modeling software of my choice, and got to work. I found blueprints online of the Martini racing car Porsche that he turns into, and just directly put them into Blender. Then I could trace them, top down, side, front, back, and get a pretty close model right from the get-go. The only problem is that on my first one, I kind of forgot that you need to have good topology, otherwise modifiers and stuff are going to start calculating it wrong. If you're unfamiliar with what topology means, that refers to the way the mesh is built. The mesh, oh gosh, let's strip this all the way back. Say you have a cube. A cube is an object. An object has a mesh. A mesh refers to the object's skin, essentially, right? That's the sheets. A mesh is made up of vertices, which would be the little dots in each corner. Topology refers to the way this mesh is sort of built. So one cube could have a really bad topology because it has lots of extra dots that it doesn't need. When I did my first car model, I kind of forgot about this. And so there was dozens of dots in corners where there could be 2. So instead of trying to redo tracing the blueprints and stuff, which was really tricky because, you know, you have a lot of vertices and stuff in the way, instead I'd opted to just trace my 3D model again and opt for doing it as simple a geometry as possible. We can use modifiers like the subdivision surface modifier or the shade smooth function to make it look nice and rounded, while still keeping the topology blocky and simple. Eventually, after enough tinkering around, I got the car to a stage that I was happy with. So now we need to do the cel shading stuff that I was doing with Optimus, the really cool cel shader look that makes it look like it's 2D animation. For this, I literally copy pasted it from my Optimus file. Blender lets you do that. For those who didn't see how I made my cel shader material, I just connected a diffuse BSDF modifier to a shader to RGB, which was in turn connected to a color ramp with darker shades on the left and the brighter shades on the right. This is then finally connected to the material output. But we can't just use that. We need to also give it those drawn lines, otherwise stuff's gonna blur together. And I did this by using the feature in Blender called Grease Pencil. You can literally select the object, go Shift A, Grease Pencil, Object Line Art. and it calculates most of it for you right off the bat. You just need to do a couple of tweaks here or there, and you're good to go. Jazz was a little bit more tricky than Optimus because Optimus is very much brick, square. But Jazz's car mode's a bit more rounded and smooth, so it doesn't have harsh lines to draw. I tried my best, but in the end I opted to just go for good enough rather than perfect, because I'm gonna keep tinkering this forever and ever, it's never gonna be quite right. There was some stuff I could do to emphasize the lines though. For instance, I want the number 4 to stand out, so all I did was just extrude that out slightly so that it would calculate lines for it. You can do it other ways as well, like ticking the material borders, which does it, but I quite like mine to be more 3D, more tactile. And eventually, we've gotten a car mode that's pretty much 99% where I want it. Obviously, this model is going to be tweaked quite heavily once we turn it into a transformer. Right now, it's just a hollow shell. But my hope is that now that I've made the car mode first, I can chop it up into individual sections for the robot mode, and make the robot parts, and connect it all together. We might not even need to make the model swap out for a robot model. Maybe we can make it actually transform, like an action figure. This is not necessarily my idea originally. Daniel Medella recommended it in the Optimus video comments, but it's really clever and really smart, and it means that it's actually gonna look how I want it to. Now, this is part 1 because I don't want to rush this project. Optimus Prime looks as jank as he did because I'm trying to stick to the weekly upload schedule on YouTube. Sure, I've missed a video here or there or delayed it slightly, but for the most part, I've been pretty consistent these past few months. And YouTube rewards that, right? I've seen it. I've gone from like 180 to 380 within a month, as opposed to the year that it originally took for that first 180. So I think instead of trying to rush it, instead of trying to finish the entire project in 1 week or 2 weeks, whatever, I'm gonna just update you weekly, and if I have something to show, I'll show it. Ideally, I'd like to do it in nice chunks, like this video is planning and car mode modeling. Second video could be robot mode modeling. Third video could be the environments and the blaster modeling. Fourth could be the transformation animation. And fifth could be the dancing animation. And then eventually I'd do a 6th one that compiles it all together. But that is not a hard and fast rule. Some weeks I might have nothing to show because I have a life outside of YouTube. So if you're interested in this project and want to give me some pointers, feel free to subscribe and let me know down in the comments what you would do. I want this to look professional, or as professional as I can get with minimal experience, so I'm open to any and all suggestions. So if you like what you see, and you want to make sure you're notified when I do part 2, then make sure to subscribe. Otherwise, I'll catch you next week. Farewell!